back and welcome to a quick video today. I'm going to be doing the Animal Crossing book tag, which is essentially just a few Animal Crossing themed questions, so let's get into them. The first question is GameCube, which is essentially a classic book that you want to read, but I don't read classics, so I've replaced classic with popular, and the popular book that I want to read is one that I feel like I'm very behind on, and that is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is a incredibly popular sci-fi book, and I've just recently acquired it on my TBR cart because I didn't realize until now that it's apparently queer, which is definitely up my alley. I think it's about like a thief or a street urchin who's offered a very lucrative job, and somehow that job involves her becoming the target of a murderous conspiracy. I'm like, I'm sold. So I've got City of Stairs also on my TBR, and now I've got another Robert Jackson Bennett book. So I feel like I should actually read Robert Jackson Bennett before I buy anything else because I'm starting to accumulate a worrying collection. I'm also very aware that if I start both of those books, it's effectively starting new books in new series, and I've already got a lot of series on the go. So I'm kind of just internally stressing about the fact that I've got more series that I'm eventually going to start, but you know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Question 2 is Wild World, your favorite second book in a series. And does it count if it's a duology? Because I've got a beautifully foolish endeavor here. This is a first contact with aliens story. The first book is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, and it follows April May. She encounters this massive statue at 3 o'clock in the morning, calls her friend Andy, they make a video about it, and then the next morning they blow up and go viral because this statue that they have named Carl has now appeared over the entire world. There's like more than 60 of this statue in every major city in the world, and they have the inside scoop on it because now they've all been walled off, and April got close enough to touch Carl and then make a video about him, and now everyone in the world is calling all of their statues Carl, and she has been skyrocketed into fame. And so this discusses obviously first contact with aliens, but also parasocial relationships and social media. And given that Hank Green is one of the vlog brothers and has been on the internet since like the dawn of time, like he's got a huge understanding of that perspective, and it's just been fascinating to reread, and I loved these when I first read them. I'm just looking forward to rereading them. These audiobooks are fantastic. The other sequel that I want to quickly touch on is Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, which is the sequel to Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and it's about Astrid having a meet cute with this woman outside of a coffee shop. This woman accidentally causes Astrid to spill her coffee all over her, and Astrid loses her mind, and then after that she realizes that this woman was supposed to be working with her on this new job that she has been building up in her own head, and that job is redoing the design aspect of a local like cabin or almost Airbnb stay. It's like a luxury version of that. So now Astrid's like, oh no, I've ticked off the person that I'm going to be working with, and so it goes from like an enemies to rivals to lovers. It's just so cute. I really enjoyed it. Question 3 is City Folk, which is your favorite book set in a large city. And because I read so much fantasy, so much of it is set in a large city, but then also they go on quests, which is off the beaten path. So also not a large city. So really I struggled for this question. And I ended up settling on The Memory of Souls, which is the third book in the Chorus of Dragons series, because the city of Kerr is where Kieran, the main character, is from, and it's a massive monolith. So I feel like that counts. Even though they go into many other different places throughout the duration of the series, I feel like the city of Kerr, like it's a big one, so it counts. Question 4 is New Leaf, which is the best new release that you have read recently. And like every other person, I'm going to say Fourth Wing because so many people are hyped up and loving this book. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars, and I have a separate review. So if you want to hear more about it, go and check out my review and let me know what you thought about it too. This one is hyped for a reason. I can understand why, but I didn't get on the hype train as much as everyone else. So it is a new release that I enjoyed, but it's not become my new personality or anything. Question number 5 is Isabelle, and that is a book that has been with you through thick and thin. And I like to say The Book of the Unnamed Midwife for this question, only because this is a post-apocalyptic book, and it follows a woman in this post-apocalyptic world where most of the women have died from this disease, which affects 99.9% of the population, and men have a higher survival rate of women, so she has to disguise herself as a man in order to live in this world, otherwise she'll be brutally attacked and essayed, and you know, it's very risky for her. But because she's a midwife and she's got these nursing skills, she tries to find any woman and help her, but she has to do that in a way that doesn't tip off the other men in the world to realizing that she's a woman. So it's an interesting and complex social commentary, and it's also a post-apocalyptic book with a bit of hope, which is nice, but it's something that I also read during the pandemic and before the pandemic and then again after the pandemic. So because of that almost real world association and fear that goes along with that, this was a very grounding book to read, And honestly, it's just one of my favorite post-apocalyptic books ever. Usually I would gravitate to a book that actually has zombies in it because that element of sci-fi is something I adore, but this one was just very humbling. So definitely check it out. The audiobook was really good as well, and that's how I reread it. It's also worth mentioning that the author of The Unnamed Midwife is trans, and the protagonist of the book is bi, I think. She has attraction to men and women, but she never really labels it, so I'm assuming bi, it could be pan, I'm not sure. Question 6 is bells, which in Animal Crossing is the currency, and so it's name a book that is rich with character. This book I only read this year, and I have discovered a new favourite, essentially, and that is Wolfsong by TJ Klune. Stop ignoring the signs like I did. Pick up this book. It's an urban fantasy, and it's also a small town male-male romance. So you get all of those found family dynamics and the relationships developing from Ox and also Joe and Joe's family, who are all werewolves. So it's full of magic, it's so queer, it's beautiful. Read this book. Question 7 is Pitfall, which is a book you wouldn't mind seeing again, and for me, all of Colin Hoover. Please, TikTok, just stop promoting Colin Hoover. Promote actual like romance that isn't toxic, please. And then we've got the final question on this tag, which is Fossil, question 8, and that is name your favorite historical fiction book. And I don't read historical fiction, so instead of historical, I've replaced it with backlist. So my favorite backlist book that was published in the 90s is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I love Robin Hobb. I love the Farseer trilogy. I'm eager to reread it. I think the end of 2023 is the right time. This is about Fitz, who is a young child in this book. He starts off 6 years old. He's the bastard son of Prince Chivalry, and he's put into the care of Burrich, which is the stable hand, and he doesn't want this responsibility of looking after Fitz. So it's about Fitz growing up, understanding the politics and trying to realize who he is, but not have any support really to do that because he's very much ostracized because of his bastard heritage. So it's an incredibly emotive and captivating story, and your understanding of the world building and the magic and the politics in general unfurl as Fitz is learning them. So it's just such a beautiful story that just comes into focus as you get more and more invested in it. And I can't wait to reread these because I just remember being completely enamored by the writing and the characters, and these characters had my entire heart. And so that's why I say this is my favorite backlist book, even though I haven't read it for a very long time. I can't wait to pick this up again. So there you go. That was my Animal Crossing book tag. If you've read Robin Hobb, let me know if you have or not. I would be interested to know, given that she's got a lot of books and has been around a while and everyone seems to talk about her, but I know that that doesn't mean everyone's read her. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.